And that's where it always comes.
Yeah, that's
Getting
true.
students is a challenge in of itself. Keeping them is another story. And it's something that I realize I want to be focusing more on. The minute I find people coming in, or I've always been good at getting them. And I have been good at keeping them. But I would make my life so much easier if I could keep everyone a little bit more.
Yeah. And so let me go into that. Let's dive in a little bit on that point. This is coming full circle back to the beginning of the interview where we talked about business principles that are common thinking in the business world, but not common thinking in the piano world. This is yet another place. And it's such a counterintuitive principle. But in the business world, they talk about how easy is it for your customer to use your product? How easy is it for, so we all have one of these. This is an iPhone.
I'm trying to get away from that thing, but yeah.
We all have one of these, and Apple made this really, really easy to integrate into our lives. It was so simple to use. Early on, it was better than every other smartphone on the market at the time. And there it goes off. Weird. Better than any other smartphone on the market at the time. And it caught on, and this is huge, it caught on in the consumer market where no other company had been able to succeed. Most of the time, prior to the iPhone, most phones were marketed to businessmen and businesswomen. And this is a way to become more efficient at business. Apple made this thing so easy to use that it blew up in the consumer space. Okay, how does that apply to piano? How does that apply to music lessons, whether you're teaching guitar or ukulele or what have you? Most teachers do a really bad job of making their kid good at the process of lessons. And what that means is that the kid is carrying an increasing amount of emotional stress the longer they're in lessons. And so for me, I thought, what can I do? And this might sound crass, but trust me, it was done with the best of intentions. But I thought, what can I do to make this whole process feel easy to the kid so that they never want to quit? That even if they never practice at home, they don't want to quit the lessons because coming here actually feels good. And I know that you kind of have a principle like always have the kid leave with a smile, that sort of thing. But I'm talking about the actual process of the lessons themselves. And that's where it comes back to early on. I indoctrinate the kids in how to approach the piano, how to approach learning the music. And I downplay the musical facts, which most piano teachers at the beginning, that's all they talk about. Facts, 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 facts. Quarter notes, half notes. Let's review the flashcards again. Here's your theory book. Fill out all these worksheets. I don't do any of that. Early on, I indoctrinate the kids in how to be a good lesson taker because I know that if those kids are good at taking lessons and they don't have stress at home because I'm having them learn the music with me, they are going to stay with me for years. And that is exactly what happens.
So you're saying when they go home, they should just do what they did in their lesson.
Exactly.
There's no like, okay, let me read the notes and figure it out. All right, page 4. No, it's just recreating the experience.
Recreating the lesson experience at home. And so what I try to do at the lesson is actually make the lesson environment be more like the home environment. And ways that I do that will be,
put a TV on, have kids fighting.
I don't quite go that far, but I will leave kids by themselves for periods of time because that's what happens at home. I will make it difficult. I will not just, and most teachers don't do this. I will not just give them answers, but I will train them how to find the answers themselves. And I will go to great lengths to do that. So early on in my career, I would have done that. I would have tried to help the kid know how to learn it themselves. But I'm saying that now the entire structure, the entire success of the program depends on that kid being able to do that. And so now it's not an option. And so I have entire systems in place, entire ways of teaching, more scripts that I use, all the time that I know work on the kids and help them get the concept very quickly.
I thought of you the other day. I was teaching a piano lesson, and I could tell the girl was a little nervous. And I had introduced this new exercise to her. And I said, okay, now that you can read all the notes and you understand the rhythms, I want you to put it together.
Mm-hmm.
I started putting it together, and I said, you know what? I'm going to leave the room, and I'm going to come back. Look at the clock, and I said, I'm going to come back when that hand is on 2. And I left for 2 minutes, and I just stood outside the door. And just to give her some alone time,
Mm-hmm.
the whole dynamic changes
Yes.
once you're out of the room.
Yeah.
When you're in the room, there's pressure that you're putting on them. And you don't intend on putting that pressure there, but it's just there. And I've been doing that more and more, where I leave the room and I realize, oh, in a group class, you're just, that leaving the room is happening constantly.
Yeah.
And I was very, when I heard about your group programs and lessons, I was a little reluctant, but I was reluctant to implement it. I haven't implemented it yet, but I'm starting to really see the whole value of it.